I can't, you have 1,001 clips on the internet, but I know for a fact that one of the things that I was offended about in doing research or just seeing you on the internet is that you have definitely talked about your disdain for some of the practices of Dr. Martin Luther King. So to sit here and gaslight us as if most of us have not seen.
That's not true. Find the clip. Find the clip.
Well, Dr. Umar, you yourself said you yourself just seconds ago said you did find some things in the civil rights movement problematic.
But I supported the movement and I still support it. I visit
everyone supported
every time I'm in Atlanta. I have never been
as a black man, as a black person in America.
If we're going to have the conversation, let us be honest. Let's not misrepresent.
You're the only one not being honest, Umar. You're not being honest.
Find the clip. We don't have to argue about it. We don't have to argue about it.
You just admitted to it. We don't need
it. 60 seconds left on the 60 seconds left on this segment. We won't be able to find the clip on this show.
Find the clip. Well, first of all, I do not endorse any kind of a second-class citizenship role for Black women. I believe Black women have as much to offer as do Black men, so I'm not sure who the Queen is referring to because I am not a misogynist and I do not support that type of narrative that said the Black woman's position is only to have children and to prepare food. But at the same time, I think Black women have to look at themselves because although white supremacy has been the greatest enemy of the progress of Black men, you would also have to argue that Black women have probably been the greatest accomplice to supporting the white power structure in their destruction of Black males, i.e. the conversation we're having right now, where two intelligent Black women have yet to indict white supremacy for the role that they play in the destabilization of the lives of Black men.
So when we come back, we'll find out if the two beautiful sisters who are on the panel will indict white supremacy when we return. Well, please welcome author and activist Hope Chisel, Doctor of Clinical Psychology, Dr. Umar Johnson, radio personality and family advocate, DeJuan Brown, influencer and YouTuber, Cynthia G. Well, thank you all for this conversation. Do Black men in America face more obstacles than Black men in other countries? We're going to talk about that. But first, I want to know, is white supremacy responsible for any of the Black man's plight at all? Hope?
Most definitely. Like, let's not play coy here. We understand the role that white supremacy has played. But I think that over time...
It ain't been sounding like it. It ain't been sounding like it. You've been blaming Black men this whole time. I ain't heard you not one time say, yeah, you know, the system, you know what I'm saying, the laws, the police, the lawyers, the legislation, this, that. I ain't heard none of that. I ain't heard none piece, not once. It's the Black man. Oh, they doing you wrong. Do something about it then. All right.
As we learn the tricks of white supremacy, right, we learn to do better to defeat it. And I find that, especially as Black men, a lot of the time when we're talking about this war on Black men, we fail to realize that Black women are underneath the same scrutinies. Maybe not in the same way and maybe not for the same reasons, but y'all are not going through this alone. And so when you talk about the ways in which Black women have learned to take, you know, what we're given and turn it into glitter and throw it up and make Black girl magic, we wonder why those things are not happening for Black men in the same way. And it's largely because I think that complacency happens. A lot of Black men, not all, are complacent with the idea of being saved by everyone other than themselves. They're okay with the idea of being saved by Black women, white women, women of all other races. They're okay with the idea of being saved by white men who give them the opportunity to come and be a part of this thing that's better than what they are. But what they're not doing is being complacent in the idea of finding their own solutions to digging their way out of the hole. And having one or two people that are speaking on it with the idea of inclusion or exclusion of certain people within the Black community is also a problem. We cannot build as a Black community if we want to throw out this group of people or throw out that group of people or tell these people that their opinions are invalid, even though they're Black, because they're mixed race or because they're queer or because of all these other, you know, incidences. And I think that those are the things that we have to focus on. The goalposts can't constantly be moved in this conversation whenever Black women start to make a point for the sake of Black men feeling like they need to be able to dismantle that in order to talk about how they've been hurt. We get that. We have to.
G.
Bro, she keeps talking about stuff that nobody has said. Nobody is talking about. Bruh, she talking about moving the goalposts, bruh. Was half of the stuff she answered wasn't even in the question. He talking about moving the goalposts while moving the fuck out that bitch. What, bruh?
white supremacy? Does it exist in your world? And has it affected Black men?
Absolutely, it exists. And Black men have worked in tandem with white supremacy since they've become in contact with it. And this is why I say in the Black community, we have very disingenuous, very dishonest discussions, especially when it's regarding Black men, because we do have a Black male worshiping culture. So what we do within that culture, and Umar Johnson is showing it today, is absolve Black men from any accountability for what they've done. Number one, we wouldn't be in a system of white supremacy had it not been for Black men. So if you want to go all the way back to history, then let's go back to history when Black men were selling their own people into white supremacy. Let's go back into history when 16 years off the plantation, Black men weren't worried about a war being waged on them. They were worried about getting access to white women. That's what you were worried about. And it's interesting. There's a reason why I feel like Umar focused mostly on me and Hope's attitudes, and it's because he can't accurately answer the question. He mentioned names, not accomplishments. And the reason being is because
I think he mentioned those names specifically because the accomplishments of those people don't have to be explained.
Right, but those accomplishments are also accomplishments that I've heard Umar Johnson speak negatively about, specifically the civil rights movement and how damaging it was to Black people. But now he wants to sit here and say the very people who accomplished that were accomplishing something beneficial when, in his own opinion, that wasn't beneficial and did more harm to the community than good. So I think that because we're having such a dishonest discussion where Black men don't want to take accountability for what they've done, they want to be the victims of society, but then they want submission from the women. The bottom line is I'm not willing to deflect from the fact that, number one, Black men are the greatest non-white contributors to white supremacy. Let's just be real. White supremacy couldn't even exist without Black men's compliance. They're always uplifting whiteness, biracial children, and trying to assimilate. And that's why I went back to the notion of the only time Black men truly...
Where is she getting these statistics from? Social media? This sounds like you look at the news and celebrities and social media and you think that's the norm. You think social media is happening in real life. It ain't, bruh. It's not, bruh. It's not, bruh. Out of the hundreds of Black men that I know, maybe 2 of them are married to women that aren't Black. Hundreds. Like, come on, bro. Where are you getting this from, bro? Celebrities and athletes? That's your research? That's where you're pulling all your data from? 'Cause that's what it sounds like to me.
Feel like there's a war against them is when they feel like they're being punished for something white men do. At the end of the day, y'all dropped the ball. You're blaming white supremacy on your failures. We already know there's oppression, but Black women are double oppressed. We have more barriers to face. You have male privilege in a patriarchal system and you can't even get it right.
Well, Dr. Umar, I think
we have not been living in a patriarchy. Just the fact that you just said you was raised by auntie them and grandma and them should let you know that we have not been living in no patriarchy, bro. We've been appeasing y'all. It's been a matriarchy, bro.
Dr. Umar, I think we all know your stance on interracial marriages.
Absolutely, but let me also
so please acknowledge what the rest of what Cynthia G has said.
Absolutely. I'm not sure where Sister Cynthia took history class.
Facts.
But if you know anything about the transatlantic slave trade was a European enterprise. It was
I'm talking about the sub-Saharan. I'm talking about the sub-Saharan slave trade. You should go look into it.
Excuse me.
You address me.
May I finish?
Go look into the sub-Saharan slave trade where Black men are trading their women and children for alcohol and tobacco.
I don't want a monologue. May I finish?
Go ahead, Dr. Umar.
The transatlantic slave trade was a European enterprise.
You see, bro, look at how disrespectful that is, bro. Everybody sits back and doesn't say anything while you talking, bro. But as soon as he say something that you don't like or you disagree with, you got to cut him off, bro. Like, you disrespectful, bro. Out the gate. I don't even appreciate her being on this platform. You ain't even adding nothing to the conversation except saying Black men ain't did shit. That's all you've been saying this whole time. What are you adding to this conversation that's even, like, productive? Y'all ain't did shit and you cutting everybody off. Come on, bro.
It was not an African enterprise, although there were some chiefs who participated in it. By no means did they control the direction and extension of the transatlantic slave trade. So that's number one. Number two, Black men resisted enslavement, not only on the shores of Africa, but right here in America. We celebrate Nat Turner, Denmark Vesey, Gabriel Prosser. There's literally hundreds of documented attempts by African men to liberate not only themselves, but their women and their children. So to act like we just sat there and were complicit in our own oppression is absolutely ridiculous. The other point I want to clarify for your information, Cynthia G, you've never, ever heard me condemn the civil rights movement. The good Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. is a hero of mine. And despite me being a Pan-African nationalist, I take issue with other Black nationalists who do want to dismiss Dr. King's accomplishment. The civil rights movement was necessary because it removed a psychological scar that suggested of racial inferiority. So you've never heard me deride the civil rights movement. I support it, although I took certain issues with it. The bottom line is when Black women, Black girls, Black boys listen to this conversation we're having today, they're going to be confused because they hear two brothers speaking of a greater context to the problems that affect Black men, and you hear two intelligent, beautiful Black women who want to keep scapegoating Black men while ignoring the historical and contemporary systemic challenges that are constantly placed in our way. I'm going to say this and be quiet, Sister Tammy. I got to give you this. There was a recent piece of research, Tammy, that came out, and the research said a Black man with a master's degree, they did a study. They had white males who had come out of prison apply for jobs. They had Black men with master's degrees, Sister Tammy, apply for the jobs. And guess what? The white males with prison history and no education were called back more than 75% of the time than Black men with no prison history and a master's degree.
I'm aware of that. I am aware of that.
That's what I've been seeing this whole time, bro. It's been y'all Black men, y'all Black men, y'all Black men, Black men, Black men, Black men. Y'all didn't do nothing. Y'all didn't. That's all I've been hearing, bro. Like, look at the system, bro. When the police kill somebody, is it more likely to be a Black man or a Black woman? Just more likely. It's like anytime we try to acknowledge the fact that men are trying to thrive through a system and men are trying to fight through this system, it keeps going back to they change the subject. Oh, but the women, we've been doing this and we've been doing that. But it's like, hey, just acknowledge the fact that, bro, we got to jump some motherfucking hurdles out here, man. We got to jump through some hurdles. We got to do a lot to accomplish the same as if I wasn't like these, it'd be way easier, right? Just acknowledge that a little bit, bro, please. It's just no acknowledgement in this thing, man.
Of that survey. I am. Hope, I saw you give Dr. Umar the side eye.
It's only because I can't, you have 1,001 clips on the internet, but I know for a fact that one of the things that I was offended about in doing research or just seeing you on the internet is that you have definitely talked about your disdain for some of the practices of Dr. Martin Luther King. So to sit here.
He just said that. He just said he took issue with some parts of civil rights, the civil rights movement. He just said that.
And gaslight us as if most of us have not seen.
That's not true. Find the clip. Find the clip.
Well, Dr. Umar, you yourself said you had you yourself just seconds ago said you did find some things in the civil rights movement problematic.
But I supported the movement and I still support it. I visit
everyone supported
every time I'm in Atlanta.
Why can they not hear that I can support something but have certain issues with it? He said it 3 times. What are y'all not hearing? I support the civil rights movement because it was beneficial in these areas. Certain things, this thing, I didn't like that part of it. But it was necessary for us to move forward. He just said that. What up? Some people, bro, you just can't change their mind, dog. Their mind made up, bro. You give them new information? No, my mind made up, cuz.
Nobody, I have never been
as a Black man, as a Black person in
America. If we're going to have the conversation, let us be honest. Let's not misrepresent.
You're the only one not being honest, Umar. You're not being honest.
Find the clip. We don't have to argue about it. We don't have to argue about it.
You just admitted to it. We don't need it.
60 seconds left on the 60 seconds left on this segment. We won't be able to find the clip on this show.
Find the clip.
But Hope, finish. Hope.
Essentially, whether we find the clip or not, we know that those things have been said, and you know that you've said controversial things. Once again, we see you moving the goalpost when you find that.
Controversial according to who?
We find, once again, because my thing is you and Cynthia can have that dynamic, but I give you the space to speak. I've given everybody that space to speak, so please don't interrupt me. At the end of the day,
you interrupted me as well. Let's be fair.
I did not.
Yes, you did.
And so once again, here we go in a space where Black women are making a point. It's more important to the
It's
Black.
not about you being a woman. It was about you being incorrect.
When
it has
Black
nothing to do
women
with
are
you being a woman.
incorrect.
I respect
It's
you.
more
You were
important
incorrect.
for Black men to
You were
speak
incorrect.
and
I didn't have an issue with a woman.
And
You were
omitting facts.
incorrect.
Well, let's all breathe in, breathe out, and I'll take a
It's not about
commercial
her
break.
being a
All
woman.
right?
She said something that was
We'll take a
untrue.
commercial break
He's
and
not
come right back
incorrect.
to wrap this up on the business of being Black.
It's amazing to hear people like have selective hearing, bro. You can say something you can say it point blank to them. I support Dr. Martin Luther King. I support the civil rights movement. I took some issues with it. I have certain issues with it. But no, I hear hero to you and you talking about you ain't like this and you didn't like that. Bruh, somebody can be a hero of mine and I don't like certain things about it. Like, come on, bruh. I can champion somebody for their achievements, but not like a thing or two that they did. Why is that so hard to believe? Stop trying to win the argument and have a real conversation, man. Everybody just want to win. Hey, man, appreciate you for staying this long, man. It's only one more part to this. Part 3 finna drop soon. Appreciate you for watching this long. If you're still watching, man, you know what I'm saying? Go ahead and hit that sub button down there for the kid. You know what I'm saying? Free little sub button. Free down there. Good looking on that, man. And I'll see y'all in the next one.